Section 4, Unity C# Physics Programming. In this section, we'll cover handling physics events for collisions and triggers, adding physics forces to move objects. We'll tackle the most common and useful physics properties and physics functions, and we'll take a look at physics debugging. OnCollision events and the collision object. In this video, we'll cover physics lifecycle recap, then we'll jump into what are collision events, why are they useful, and then we'll open the Unity editor and we'll play with collision events. Recommended viewing. Physics lifecycle, physics simulate, and time dilation introduces the core fundamentals of physics events. Physics lifecycle recap. As we saw in earlier sections, the OnCollision events are called when the collider intersects another collider. We use the OnCollision enter method inside of a monobehavior, and we notice that we get past the collision object. OnCollision events. Let's take a closer look. Why do we use them? First of all, OnCollision events give us more information about physics collisions. These are collisions we're talking about between rigid bodies with colliders when isTrigger is set to false. Some common examples would be when a bullet hits an enemy or when a character collects a coin. Let's take a look at a scenario for an OnCollision event. Let's imagine we have a pink cube falling downward toward a blue cube. Each of them has a rigid body and a collider, with collider as trigger set to false. The pink is falling, pink enters the collision, firing an OnCollision enter. Pink stays in the collision. Now, for every frame that they're touching, we'll get a OnCollision stay called. When pink exits the collision, we'll get a one-time OnCollision exit. Then pink continues to fall. Our focus is really on the collision enter. This allows us to capture the bullet hits an enemy or the character collects a coin scenario. The collision object that comes into that method gives us more information about the collision. We can ask collision.gameObject, what did we hit? Or collision.context, where exactly in the 3D world did the collision happen? So let's take a look at what did we hit. Well, we can check collision gameObject name and see if it matches the something we're looking for. That's good for very specific checks. We can use the tag for a whole category of checking. We can check, is this colliding with any one of the coins which are tagged coin? An alternative, also good for categorical checks, is we can check the layer. Did we hit anything with a layer set to floor? Tags and layers both can be used here. Something to be noted, we can have 0 or 1 tags or layers on each of our objects. However, we have unlimited tags in a project, but only 31 layers. Also, notice that layers are much faster than tags. So if you don't have many layers and you want to get the speed increase, go ahead and use layers. If you have a lot of different combinations to check, maybe tags is better for you. You can open up and manage from Menu, Unity, Edit, Project Settings, Tags and Layers. Let's jump into a demo now. We'll take a look at the OnCollision Events 1 and 2 scenes. We'll play the scene and inspect the code. Here we are inside Unity. Let's open up our OnCollision Events 1. We've got a pink cube and a blue cube. Pink cube's going to fall. Let's see what happens. It falls, collides, and then continues falling. We can see in the console window we have one enter, several stay, and one exit. Looking at the code, pretty straightforward, using debug log to send out some simple text. That's it. Let's take a look at Collision Events 2 scene. Same scenario, but this time we have a floor. Let's play. We see the collision, and in each console line, we also see what we're colliding with. The pink cube is colliding with cube B. Notice it's not colliding with the floor. Let's see how that's done. Inside each method, we check if we're colliding with the floor, and then we do not say the debug log statement. So how does isFloor work? Down here, we simply check the layer, and is it the floor layer? Now, floor layer constant just equals floor. It's a simple way for me to store that variable. If we look in Unity and we inspect the floor, we see that the layer is set to floor. That's how this code knows not to say debug log when we're colliding with the floor.